Hey guys, how are we doing? You always get me when I'm like either doing this or like I'm wiping my mouth or something right before I come on. You always get me an awkward moment there. I feel like. Hi everybody. I was in the chat. So Vincent must be listening or like I don't know if he's reading the chat or what because he's not here, but he said that it's a Highland cow. Or wait, it's a Scottish cow. The Highland cow is. That's what he texted me. So I wanted to say that before I said anything else or I would have forgot. So welcome on in, everybody. If you're wondering why I'm talking about cows, you're like, did I get on the right channel? You did. It's just a membership perk. You get super cute little emojis, and we made some new ones today. Vincent was ready for it. Brooklyn said, hi, Vincent, we love you. I looked at the phone when I said that. That's funny. She said, we love you. Oh, look at that. Pickle Me Elmo, member for a month. I love that. Welcome, welcome. And I love that we can actually showcase those now. That's really nice. We did do a members live earlier today. So for the members lives, I'll do all tiers, but it's normally Titan tier 1 and higher. Those are just like, that's just how the perks, how my perks go. I have like the Titan emoji, which you get the emojis and the stickers, and then you get to do the members lives. When we have like our members lives live chat, you'll be included in that. And then tier 1 and tier 2, you get extra videos. And I'm going to try to do them once a week. I think we're going to like designate Sunday to doing lives because it's Sunday. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are home on Sundays. Maybe you guys don't have a lot to do on Sundays. I don't know. And if you do have something to do, unlike myself, then you can always watch it on replay. But yeah, we got what all new emojis. Okay, so I'm not on the right screen, but I know that there's a detective one that's new. We switched it out. The Titan emoji arm is different. And the cow is new. And then there's one where there's like an emoji of like me and I'm holding a gavel and I'm putting it down and I'm like, order. I thought that one was pretty cute. We couldn't really get the order all the way in the emoji though, but that's what it says. Reba likes the cow one. Now we got to get Nookie to come in here. Hey, Summer. I saw you. Oh, there you are. I'm like, I saw you and then there you went. Hey, TLC. Isn't they cute? I think they're cute. Oh, I can see him over here. Oh, there we go. Oh my God, that cow is cute. That cow's really cute. He wouldn't let me pick the cow. Like, he's the emoji person. He's the emoji guy. It's funny. Like, I grew up around cows, like farm animals, not like around me, but there was a cow pasture right across my high school. And imagine that 7 a.m. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. That's Ohio for you. Cow pastures everywhere. Well, I've never seen a baby cow that looks like this before. I've only seen like the little like black and white ones that are like smaller and they just look like a smaller version of the big cow. These ones are cute. They're fluffy. I'm like, that one's kind of cute. So if you see me with the cow next time, just mind your business. Brooklyn said I was meant to be a dairy farmer. Me too. As much milk as I've been drinking, I should get a cow. Actually, the price of milk's ridiculous. It's crazy. So how's everybody doing tonight? Now that we got our cow out of the way, cow stuff out of the way. Yeah, we got let me start over. Nookie, one of our ladies that comes in our chat, that's how the cow emoji started. She was in the chat one night and she's like, "Oh, sorry guys, gotta go. My cow's in the middle of the road." So we were like, "Okay, we gotta do a cow emoji." Maud, yeah. Well, welcome in. You don't see the cow one? It should be whenever you go to the down in the emojis for like the members emojis. I'm not sure exactly what it says. I should get on that page so I can help you guys. It's crazy how many different screens you need for like to see the chat in a different way. So I can put the emojis in now because I'm on this screen. So this one's new and this one is new. This one and this one. And I think that's all of them. I think there's 4. They're cute. Do you see it? The little cow one is where it says TitaniumBuilt, and it's over by Brian Enton. I forgot we had Brian on there. That's funny. Brian Enton. Overruled. Isn't that funny? I like that one. I thought that was pretty funny. Let me go ahead and sign into my my thing for Nancy real quick. Oh, I thought that was her for a second. for Fox Nation. And this evening, if you guys don't mind, since you're here, taking a second to hit the like button, and welcome to the channel, everybody. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, Titans. And I saw you a little bit ago if you're on the members live. And there is another. Okay, awesome. There's a video portion of this. I love that. And I don't know if you guys have heard, there's like another case that's kind of coming up that might be good too. I'll have to go over that after this. I just have to sign into my account. I forgot to do that earlier. It makes you do it every single time that you go on it, which is a good idea. Is that a new Nancy? Oh, I didn't. Maybe he put that one on there. He might have. I have to get one of these Nancy's on there for us. Cardboard Nancy. I need to do the unboxing video and put it online. I keep forgetting to do that because I got a little video of me unboxing her. I was like, this is going to be cute. Okay, so we're getting there. I wanted to go ahead and read something to you guys too. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. And I'm going to light this candle today because I haven't lit this candle in a little while. I was going to do it on the members live and then I forgot. I'm going to knock this part off. I don't want it to really burn. But you can actually get these little candles in my boutique. I have some stuff I have to send out tomorrow for a couple people actually. These candles last forever. 100 hours of burn time. So we've had that bad boy for months sitting here. I'm gonna have to recycle it just so I can get a different scent. Put it into the other room and use it in there. Oh wait, you guys can't even really see it with it over there. Well, that stinks. I wanted you guys to be able to see the candle. There we go. It's just because I'm on that smaller screen. There we go. Don't catch yourself on fire. Well, thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and go into, so I was just going to do a timeline of sorts, and then we'll go ahead and get into the Nancy Grace video. She just put this one out a couple days ago. So we're all caught up with her series on the Gilgo list suspect. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this will help everybody kind of get caught up. So it's been about 13 years, I think 10 to 13 years of investigation. There were missing women out of New York, found, Gilgo Beach area, and they finally got a hit off of some pizza crust for some DNA. And this is the guy that they got. He was an architect living his life with his family, wife, kids, house in the suburbs, I think he commuted to work in the city as an architect, and they picked him up right on the city street. He had no clue they were coming. It's incredible, incredible that they were they were just so quick. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of him getting arrested, but he was surrounded before he could even look up. So let me put myself down here so I can read this. Well, actually, let me put myself on the side because can't really see it there. I'm going to grab my drink really fast. Oh, and listen to this. If you guys are from the Ventura, California area, are you guys okay? They had a little bit of an earthquake out there, 5.1 magnitude. I guess that's in the middle. I don't know. I called Vincent freaking out because it said outside of LA, and that's a vast area, but I know his mom lives outside of LA, and I'm like, oh my God, because his mom's really cute, small. Just see a little earthquake taking her away. He said that he doesn't think it was that bad. I don't know what that means. I'm like, you've lived in California your whole life. I was like, I don't know anything about earthquakes. So I hope you guys are all okay out there. That's some crazy shit going on, you guys. Hawaii fires, earthquakes, fires in Canada. You guys just got over your wildfires up there, it seems like. Remember all the smoke coming down in the States? It is apocalyptic out there. I can't even say the word. So I'm going to read through this really quick. It'll get us all kind of caught up. If you haven't watched the prior lives that we've done on this, you guys can always go back. I have a playlist and I have a bunch of different like little videos. But this is the best one that I could find on a timeline. I had a timeline on my StreamYard and I think I put it in a folder. Now I can't find it. So I was like, I found this one for us to go over. Fires again, Cheryl? Yeah, New York's thinking, I think it's a couple like millimeters or a centimeter each year. It's I couldn't live there. I'm so terrified of the ocean and anything to do with water ever since the Titan submersible imploded. I don't even, I'm cool on dry land now. And I used to love that kind of stuff. I don't even want to be like on dry land if it's close to the water. But I'm going to go through this here. It says, police have called the Gilgo Beach murders one of the most consequential homicide investigations in Long Island history. The search, this is how it started. The search for missing sex worker Shannon Gilbert led to the grisly discovery of 10 other bodies on the stretch of beach along the island's south shore. Now, nearly 13 years after the first victim was discovered, a suspect has been arrested in connection with the case. New York City architect Rex Heuermann has been charged with the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, whose bodies were found covered in burlap in December 2010, according to court records. I remember when they were found. Like that. Wow. I can't believe it's been that long. Heuermann, 59, a married father of two, is also the prime suspect in the death of a fourth victim, Maureen Bernard Barnes, who was also found that month, according to the court document. He has not been charged with her murder. I'm assuming that they are going to charge him, I'm assuming eventually, because they did find she was bound just like the other victims were. And there was hair that belonged to his wife and her bondage, like the bondage. So I don't know why they haven't charged him with that yet. Because they have DNA. So the four victims have become known as the Gilgo Four. The Craigslist escorts were found along the beach about 500 feet from each other, and all died by homicidal violence, according to officials. Here's a timeline of the investigation. So they were found in like this murky mush. So when they say Gilgo Beach, they weren't found like on a beach. They were found in this brushy, thorny, I don't even know how you got people out there to begin with to dump them, to be quite honest. When they were searching for Shannon Gilbert and they showed the documentary of them and the search for her, like after they found her, they're showing where they found her. I was like, what? Huh? It was like quicksand back there. It was like, why would you run back there? Because remember where they thought she ran back there? Still don't believe that. So we're going to go back in time to July 9th, 2007. Bernard Barnes, 25, is last seen alive in New York City, according to prosecutors. July 10th, 2009, Bartholomew, 24, is last seen alive in New York City, according to prosecutors. I had a really good timeline for this. I wish I would have found it. I'll show it to you guys next time again. I've showed it on a previous live, but May 1st, 2010, Gilbert, 23, goes missing after fleeing from a client's home in Oak Beach near Gilgo Beach, according to police. Her disappearance prompts several searches in the area. I remember her, and I remember seeing her pictures of her like in the car in New York. She was beyond beautiful. In my eyes, I thought when I remember at the time when I saw her picture, I was like, this girl is gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. So June 6, 2010, Waterman, 22, is last seen alive at the Holiday Inn in Piqua, New York, according to prosecutors. September 2nd, 2010, Costello, at 27, is last seen alive at her home in West Babylon, New York, according to prosecutors. So 20-year-olds, 20-somethings. December 11th, 2010, an officer conducting a search for Gilbert with his police K9 along Ocean Parkway in Gilgo Beach, near her last known location, discovers a set of human remains that are later identified to be those of Bartholomew, police said. Can you imagine you're walking the beach with your canine dog, training the dog, looking for Shannon Gilbert, and you stumble across somebody else. I mean, and then you just find more people from there. I couldn't imagine that. That sounds like a bad trick, like a bad joke. You know what I mean? Like you're looking for someone, you're looking for Shannon, and her mom and her sisters were like, instrumental in getting this case looked at and getting this case people even looking for Shannon. They found these girls. If nobody was looking for Shannon, nobody would have found these girls right away. And right then, not then, maybe not now. You never know. You never know when they would have been found, if they would have been found. He had them in camouflage burlap. That is like next level crazy, like, and this is a picture of the girls here too. Beautiful girls. 2013, 2010. Wow. December 13th, 2010. During a search of the area, police find the remains of Bernard Barnes, Waterman, and Costello within a quarter mile of where Barthelme's remains were recovered. March 29th, 2011, amid the continued search for Gilbert, police find partial skeletal remains several miles east of where the Gilgo Beach 4 were found belonging to Jessica Taylor, a 20-year-old sex worker. Other remains from Taylor were previously discovered in Manorville in eastern Long Island in July 2003. So part of her remains are in Gilgo, part of them are in Manorville. And we went over that before on the live. If we thought Rex Heuermann could be the Manorville butcher, the same one and the same. And so April 4th, 2011, police find 3 sets of remains along Ocean Parkway while searching for Gilbert. The remains of Valerie Mack, a 24-year-old escort who disappeared while living in Philadelphia, are found about 1.5 miles east of Taylor's remains and a little over 2 miles east of the Gilgo 4. And there's a map down here to look at too. Mack's partial remains were previously discovered in Manorville in November 2000, and police have suggested there may be a connection to Taylor's remains. The remains of an unidentified female toddler are also located in the same area. The remains of an unidentified man are also discovered closer to the remains of the Gilgo 4. Authorities said the person was about 17 to 23 years old, Asian, and had died 5 to 10 years before being discovered. And then you can see all of the victims. And where is, okay, so Jane Doe, and then, okay, so that would be Peaches and then her daughter, it looks like. Right? Yeah. Or no, they don't have her on here. Because I think this one here is that was the girl that got her name back. Vargas, what was her name, guys? It's like with a V at the end of it. Karen Vergadas or something. I don't want to say it wrong, but I think it's Vergadas. She was the girl that they ended up doing the DNA testing for. Yeah, Karen. I knew her. I was like, what was her first name? And then I was like, Karen's her first name. Oh, I don't know, Ashley. They might have. I was just reading the chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for being here. If you're just now joining us, if you wouldn't mind just hitting the like real quick, it really helps get us into the algorithm. And don't forget to chat with us in the chat because we love to have you. We love to have new chatters in. So that's where the locations were of the bodies. So they're on this side, and then, the water is on the opposite side. So you can see like the beach and stuff. And then that is like a marshy, like mucky, overgrown, pastury kind of area. So April 11th, 2011, it says 2 sets of remains are located off of Ocean Parkway in Nassau County, 7 miles west of Gilgo Beach. 1 set of remains is determined to be the mother of a female toddler discovered on April 4th, 2011. The mother's partial remains were first discovered in 1997 in Hempstead Lake State Park. The second set known as Jane Doe number 7 is confirmed to belong to an unidentified victim whose remains were located on Fire Island in 1996. And I believe that's the new Jane Doe they got her name back for, Karen. And then the girl that is connected with the toddler's mother is believed to have been, she's an unidentified female, but they call her Peaches because she had a peach tattoo, I believe on her stomach area, torso maybe area. December 13th, 2011, Gilbert's remains are found in marshland near Oak Beach. Her death is later ruled as an accidental drowning though her family maintains they believe she was murdered. And that's that whole situation with Shannon Gilbert and then her sister. I think her sister shot her mother. It's just terrible. It's a terrible situation. We should probably do a whole show over that. Just Shannon Gilbert. That is what sucked me into Long Island and Gilgo. And I feel like if we do a live over Shannon, maybe it'll get more people whoa, maybe the magnitude will set in better. Cause this is going to be a huge case. It's already a huge case. I mean, this guy's a serial. He ain't a mass murderer. He didn't just take out one person or two people. I mean, we're talking tens, if not more, tens of hundreds. I don't know. We don't know. Tens. We're at he's at 4 victims, but there's at least 10 right there in that area. And I'm going to go out on a ledge, and I don't think that there were 2 different killers in that area. That's just me. I think he just switched up his MO a little bit. Some were discarded in parts, some were not. And I think that was just because he grew and as a active killer. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. January 2022, the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office creates a task force to conduct a comprehensive review of evidence in this investigation. Now you heard that right. It went from December 13th, 2011, and then nothing happens until 2022. And then March 14th, 2022, Heuermann first comes up. So what is this? 3 months. 3 months. It's crazy. If they would have done this, I mean, I feel like if they would have done this a while ago, this would have been solved, in my opinion. But March 14th, 2022, Heuermann first comes up as a suspect in the investigation, according to Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney. Heuermann was tracked through his car, a Chevrolet Avalanche, according to court documents. A witness to Costello's disappearance reported seeing a Chevrolet Avalanche at Costello's home, court records stated. He just looks bad. Nancy, do you think maybe I'm thinking something's going on. I don't know. I know that they're saying that the wife was out of town, but it's just hard to believe that you would be that blind to everything. I mean, she had to have known something. She had to know he was at least cheating with the prostitutes or something. I mean, at least that. I don't know if she knew anything else, but how did her hair get there? Does she just shed that much? I mean, I shed a lot, but I don't see my hair being in the burlap and in the bindings, in the actual bindings. It is very weird. It's very, very weird. Hopefully we'll find all that out, I think we will too. I know that there is a lawyer out there that thinks that she has something to do with it, but they're saying as of right now, she doesn't. So July 13th, this is when he was arrested. So July 13th, 2023, I think that we streamed this day, or maybe it was the next day. Heuermann is arrested in Manhattan at his Midtown office. Investigators matched DNA from hair recovered from the burlap used to wrap Waterman's body to leftover pizza crust Heuermann threw in a Manhattan garbage can in January 2023, according to court documents. Detectives also tracked Heuermann through cell phone records, according to court records. Tierney said cell phone mapping led investigators to zero in on areas in Midtown Manhattan and Massapequa Park, where Heuermann lives. July 14th, 2023, defense attorney Michael Brown enters a not guilty plea on Heuermann's behalf at his arraignment for 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of second-degree murder. Heuermann was held on no bail. August 4th, 2023, authorities announced they have identified, oh, there it is, Jane Doe number 7, whose remains were first located on Fire Island in 1996. So it was that one. As 34-year-old Karen Vergata, more of her remains were found on April 11th, 2011 on Long Island's Tobay Beach. There are no charges at this time, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Turney says. If they connect him to her and she is in parts, they found her in parts, then it's going to be, in my opinion, so much more easier for him to be linked to the other victims that are discarded in Manorville and on the Gilgo Beach, like Peaches and maybe even the Asian male and things of the like everybody. And then of course Peaches' daughter, because someone needs to be held accountable for that. You can't just go around offing people and their child. The child. That baby didn't do nothing wrong. Baby was like a couple years old. You can't do anything wrong when you're a couple years old. You really can't. Like nothing. That's the beauty of being a couple years old. You can't do nothing wrong. Because even when you do something that's bad, you're 2 years old, you don't know any better. He's been doing this for a long time, Brooklyn. I have a feeling it's going to be. And it's weird how much, I guess he probably could have traveled for work. She could have traveled for work, but she was always out of the country whenever he was gone. Yeah. So PKC, you're right. The mail was found. So I didn't know this. I said on a live, I was like, I bet you anything he was transgender or at least cross-dressing. And it came out, I saw somewhere I read that he was found in women's clothing. So, I don't know if he was like unalived or killed for that reason, or if it was just, he was going to do it either way. I feel like he already did it with women before. So I feel like, that's why the Asian male kind of got brought into it. And then I feel like Peach's daughter, that might've just been one of those things where he called her through a Craigslist ad or whatever it was. And she was like, I can meet up with you, but I got my daughter with me, no babysitter, just thinking like it's going to be really quick or something. I don't know, just things like that can occur, unfortunately. And I think that's why the toddler was like there, you know what I mean? Like, and put in that whole like mix of people, because a toddler doesn't fit any of it. But if you think about it being with her being with her mother, and then you think of the male being transgender or dressing, dressing in women's clothing, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. And Rex searched for, yep, you're so true. That's true. He did for Asian male P. Yep. He was searching for it. So for sure. Someone needs to move on jail justice with the evil bastard. Yeah. And why does everyone look cool, calm, and collected when they're in court? Like, I don't know. Not me. I wouldn't be cool, calm, and collected. But then again, I say this all the time. That's because I haven't hurt anybody. But man, let me get this over to Nancy. Actually, let me make sure it's up there for us so we can get started. And then I might bring a new case tomorrow. Actually, my photo read it to you. Oh no, I'll get it though. I'll look it up. But this is going to. Sorry, guys. I was trying to turn that down. That's like so loud. Sorry. You guys are probably like, I hate Tanya right now. It's hello, Nancy. It's so loud. I know Nancy's my girl. Hello, Nancy. I say hi to her every day. This Nancy. I really do. It's so bad. Sometimes she scares me. Like if I look in this, there's a mirror back here in the corner. And if I turn a certain way, I could see just her hands in all like, they look very realistic. So the suspect, I don't know. Liz. I haven't heard that. Maybe. Do you think they'll end up finding? If he did, he probably had stuff like that down in his underground bunker little thingy he had going on where he put his guns, and they would find all that. And do you think he would say like, what if he was like doing that with his wife's clothing and that's how he got the hair on him? I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud now, but when you came in and said that, I was like, wait a minute, that just kind of like makes maybe he was. Wow. Way to put a bomb on me there. Now I'm like, now I'm thinking. But welcome on in. Oh, okay. No, Liz, we were talking about the Asian male. So the Asian male that was found with the Gilgo 4, and then the other ladies were found above, like it's not really Gilgo, but it's just the upper beach. The Asian male, one of the victims is unidentified, and he was dressed as a woman when they found him. So we were thinking he was probably cross-dressing that's what he probably did. Yeah. But I was like, dang, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm just wondering how the wife's hair got into a binding, especially if this is a belt binding. I don't know if it was duct tape or a belt. I know that they said some were with belts and some had duct tape, I think. But if it's that doesn't happen in a belt like that. When you're carrying the belt, the hair would have fallen off of the belt. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm very curious to know about that though. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play this. It's like 42 minutes long. It's Nancy and her, crew. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. I'll be in the chat with you guys. They're basically going to go over the Las Vegas Police Department. Their DNA lab is comparing Rex Heuermann's DNA with DNA from a case of a murdered New Jersey mom. And they are expected to take 6 to 8 weeks on the results for that. And they're trying to see if they can connect him to multiple other women in the area. I'm trying to see if he did have, what was it, 2 or 1? One or 2? He had 2 timeshares in Las Vegas. So, I mean, he did have time to go over there. I don't know. It's very strange. Or, well, no, that wouldn't make sense. Never mind. That wouldn't make any sense. I know. PKC. Oh, that scared me, as scary as he is. Now, how could you imagine? Could you imagine if he cross-dressed? Yeah. Well, his wife looks way different in her when you see her now compared to her like picture when she's like looks like it's like a professional shot. They look like 2 different people too. I'm like, whoa. I had her on my thumbnail last time. Hey, Wiz, welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, Richie's in Vegas, aren't you, Richie? I've never been to Vegas. I'm gonna have to go out there. If it's not, hurricaned out. I have this down low, so I'll put it up slowly for you guys so it doesn't scare you again. And if you're just joining us, don't forget to check out the new emojis for the members. We got some new emojis for you guys. I think there's like 3 or 4 new ones in there. So you guys can use those however you want. Some Nancy ones. And we got a cool cow one for Nookie. For Maud.
In the last days, we learned that the Long Island serial killer suspect Rex Heuermann has been taken off suicide watch as Gilgo Beach victims say they believe his wife did know everything that was going on, and in fact, one witness placing her in the home during the time one of the victims was murdered. But breaking now, we now understand why the Las Vegas victims are now potential victims of the Long Island serial killer. What is the connection, and how many more dead bodies can be chalked up to one man?
I just noticed this. They all have blue eyes. I can't really tell with the girl on the far, like above me. It looks like her eyes are like a greenish blue too, but it looks like they all have light colored eyes. Beautiful girls. Yes, beautiful.
Man. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and SiriusXM 111. Also, Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer suspect, refuses to give DNA. Wonder why. but a judge swoops in and demands, "You will give DNA, Rex Heuermann." But let's just start at the beginning. Take a listen to our friends at News 12.
20 years since a gravel truck driver made a gruesome discovery along the West Coast in this grassy, deserted area outside Las Vegas.
She just was thrown like a piece of trash in the desert. You first hear it, it's unbelievable. It feels like a Lifetime movie.
The discarded body belonged to a young teenage sex worker, originally from New Jersey, named Victoria Camara.
With me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now, including a woman that has seemingly connected the dots between the Long Island serial killer and potential suspects in Vegas, and that would be Tara Rosenblum, joining us from News 12 Long Island. But first, I want to go to a special guest joining me, Glendine Grant. You may not have heard of her. You will remember her name after you hear what she's got to say. Glendine is the mother of a 20-year-old young girl trafficked into sex work in Vegas, missing since 2006. She's the founder of MATH, M-A-T-H, Mothers Against Trafficking Humans. Miss Grant, thank you for being with us.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on, Nancy. I appreciate it a lot.
You know, it actually hurts me to hear you thank me after all you have been through. You know, I have a daughter and a son. They're twins. And not much younger than your daughter when she was sex trafficked in Vegas. I want to hear your reaction to the potential link between the Long Island serial killer and bodies of young sex workers found in your area.
Oh, well, it just pulls a scab off again. It gets us going again, hopeful that there might be answers, praying that Jessie is found. You know, at this point, you know, having her missing for 17 and a half years, you know, I bounce back and forth from, you know, maybe she's still alive to, you know, you kind of hope she's not after all this time if it's, you know, horrible things are happening to her. And then back to, you know, I just don't feel that she's gone in my mother heart to not seeing any other options. So anytime something like this comes up, we get anxious again. We hope that this time we will have the answers that we need. And then we just keep going. We keep going on. You know, we have, I actually lost another daughter in 2021. And I have 4 daughters.
Can we appreciate Nancy for just a second? Because Nancy is a badass. Nancy sometimes has the rudest mouth in the world. But I'm going to tell you right now, she's got a heart of gold. The woman's got a heart of gold. You could tell whenever people come on their show, or like her show, if they're talking about their loved ones, you can just tell she'll think of her kids. When she thinks of her twins, got cold chills. Like, it makes me feel so bad that, you know, like, look at that face. Because we get her in a lot of her, you know, mean faces. She's doing a great job. She's here, by the way, you know. I forgot I need to do a Nancy cam during these lives. Well, I'm working on it. But I wanted to point that out because, you know, Nancy's human.
Daughters. So now I have just my 2 daughters and my grandkids and my husband. So we form a very strong bond, and we won't stop until we get some kind of answers.
Joining me, in addition to Tara Rosenblum, News 12 Long Island, Kristen Thorne is with us, investigative reporter, WABC 7 Eyewitness News. Tara, I want to talk to you about potential links between the suspect, Rex Heuermann, suspected of being a serial killer in the Long Island area, and Vegas. First, take a listen to our friends at News 12.
News 12 learned late Wednesday afternoon that the Las Vegas Police Department just got the green light to conduct a direct comparison between suspected Gilgo Beach killer Rex Heuermann's DNA with the DNA recovered from Victoria Camara's body. Sources tell us the DNA testing could take 6 to 8 weeks to complete, and that it could expand to include 4 other cold cases that we've reported on in recent weeks, all involving young sex workers in Las Vegas who were killed in similarly suspected suspicious circumstances as the Gilgo Beach victims.
Okay, straight to you, Tara Rosenblum, News 12, Long Island. Hit me.
Okay, Nancy, thanks for sharing those clips. That was actually all information that we broke first on News 12 and shared throughout the country because immediately, we had prosecutors calling this the most consequential homicide investigation in Long Island history, as you know, but my team literally 24 hours after his arrest set out to determine whether or not other police departments across the country would be able to say the same thing. We set our sights on Vegas early on because we know that he's owned 2 timeshares there dating back 2 decades. First thing we needed to find out, as you and I have spoken, Nancy, is how many cold cases there are in the department. We combed through online records because they didn't have a tally and determined there were 266
Okay, whoa,
cases.
right there. You think, and I even hate to say this, is so cliche, in Sin City, for Pete's sake, they would have an up-to-date toll of how many people are missing. I mean, Glendine Grant, that's just got to rub you the wrong way. Your daughter has been missing since 2006, and I think Tara's going to tell us that's around the time that Heuermann was there, and they don't even have a tally of how many people are missing. Are you kidding me, Glendine? What the hell's going on out there?
Oh, it drives us crazy, Nancy. We literally have to be the ones that contact the police on the most cases, and we give them tips that don't always get looked at. I have to say, though, in the last year or so, maybe a little longer, we've had a new detective on the case that I'm so grateful for. He contacted me. He asked to be put on the case. He remembers Jesse's case from the get-go. He said that he was a rookie when she went missing, so it's always stood out to him. And he also told me that they were born in the same year, so he has a connection. So,
well, that's some good news that there's a new detective on it. But Tara Rosenblum, I want to get about 3 inches up their tailpipe. You had to go in and amass the numbers yourself?
We did, Nancy, and out of those 266 cold cases, 61 of them, this is by our count, involved women. So the first thing we needed to know, how many of those are sex workers. We were looking for similarities to Gilgo Beach. So we went through one by one. Glendine knows, her and I were in touch. We went through one by one and reached out to family members, tried to develop law enforcement sources. And of those, I was able to identify 5 cases with striking similarities to the Gilgo Beach cases. I mean, we were knee deep in this. We were comparing autopsy records. We were putting in FOIL records. And just yesterday, we had some breaking news late in the afternoon that we shuffled to get on. And we found out that sure enough, the Las Vegas Police Department, they got the green light for their DNA lab to conclude a direct comparison of suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann's DNA with the DNA recovered in one of the cases that we had highlighted early on that involved the murder of a New Jersey mother, Victoria Camara, who for 2 decades, her family has been looking for answers. Her daughter was barely 1 when she was found dead. I spoke with her yesterday. She is now 21 and just really hoping that this results in justice for their family.
Okay, hold on. You have just thrown us all a bombshell, a grenade. I read your report late last night, and it's amazing. Not only your reporting and all the work, the investigative work you had to do to report what you reported, but the content of your report. It's happening. It is happening. Vegas PD now has the go-ahead to make DNA comparisons from what they have found on these women in Vegas to Rex Heuermann sitting, as I said earlier, getting 3 hots in a cot in a Suffolk County jail. Now, you just heard Tara Rosenblum bring up the name, and now I want to follow up with that. Take a listen to our friends at News 12.
In his first interview since Heuermann's bombshell arrest, a 3-decade veteran of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department reveals the chilling reason the suspected serial killer is also being investigated for possible ties to a string of unsolved murders that he probed as a detective in the cold case unit until his retirement 2 months ago.
I can just say that there are similar circumstances between these 3 murder victims. They were sex workers and they disappeared and they were found out in the desert.
Phil Ramos told me 3 cases he knows of have similar methodology to the Gilgo Beach murders. The women he wouldn't name disappeared between 2003 and 2006.
Tara Rosenblum has done so much investigative work. Break down what we're hearing right now, Tara.
Sure. So that was actually more work that we had shared out as soon as we got. We wanted to share this information far and wide because the more eyeballs, the more tips that come in, and you never know who's watching who could help break open this case. But Victoria Camara disappeared and was discovered. Actually, we just marked the 2-decade anniversary of her murder. She was discovered off a remote road, a desert road outside Las Vegas by a gravel truck driver. And there have been few leads. The case, her family believes. I initially spoke with her cousins, and then just yesterday, spoke with her daughter, who lives in the Bronx, here in New York. The family is spread out throughout the tri-state, but they believe, because Victoria Camara was a sex worker, that the case did not get the attention it deserved. And when we were, not only, Nancy, by police, but by those of us in the media, do a Google search. You won't see her name come up until after the arrest of Rex Heuermann. And so we thought to, compare the autopsy reports here. And just like the Gilgo 4, right at the top, it says that she died of strangulation. Those autopsy reports are a very similar read. And obviously police thought the same, because now they've gotten the green light to do this DNA comparison. And my law enforcement sources tell me this is not something you can just do on a hunch or do it random to make a direct comparison with the DNA. So something had to have prompted this. There's something that we're trying to figure out, and hopefully will come to light, that allowed this process to happen. And then what's going to happen now is they think what will happen next is that they're going to do the DNA comparisons on the 4 other cases that I've identified with striking similarities to our Gilgo cases as well.
So 5 in all. Joining me, you're hearing Tara Rosenblum, News 12 Long Island, also with us, in addition to Tara and Miss Glendine Grant. Her daughter goes missing in 2006 when we believe Heuermann was in the Vegas area. Kristen Thorne with me, investigative reporter, WABC Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Also, she's the host of Hulu's true crime show, Missing. I mean, it's amazing to me that you ladies are digging up all this investigative research, and then the cops are deciding to do a DNA comparison. But you know what? Unlike so many, I don't believe this is the time to say everything that the cops have done wrong in the past. I want to focus on what's happening right now and how we can crack this case. Go ahead, Kristen.
Well, I think, look, Nancy, getting the DNA and having the judge step in and say that he's going to have to submit to this cheek swab is going to certainly allow law enforcement around the country to have, they could have access to that DNA. Obviously, they can't just go in and grab it. They have to have a reason why they should be able to compare it. I think that these cases that Tara uncovered in Las Vegas are very interesting. I think that, look, unfortunately, there are a lot of bad people out there who do a lot of bad things. And so we will have to look at, this is why the DNA is so critical, right? It's the one way to show pretty much 100%, if not 99.999, that this person was involved. So I do hope, I'm just happy, Nancy, as the families have said, and I know with Matt there as well, that what's important about all of this, these cases have gone unnoticed. That's one of the purposes of my show with Missing. These cases deserve to be heard, and they deserve to have these attention on them. And I am sorry that, we as a society have not listened to these cases for so long. And I'm happy that even if this DNA does not match these cases, that these cases are now being looked at and are being taken seriously.
Guys, the connections between Rex Heuermann and the Vegas murders. Right now, Tara has identified 5 women whose cases are eerily similar to what happened in the Gilgo cases. I want you to take a listen to our cut 168. 8. News 12.
A 21-year-old escort who reportedly advertised on Craigslist vanished from nearby Henderson and was discovered dead later that month in Illinois. A spokesperson for the family of Lindsay Marie Harris told me her parents are asking for privacy and that any speculation regarding a link to Rex Heuermann is premature, but added they are confident police will leave no stone unturned.
Back to you, Tara Rosenblum. You were the first person that told me that Heuermann obviously was working out of Missouri, and that he even had out of Springfield, and that he even had this identifying moniker to place him there.
Sure. So I'm not, we're still looking into it. Just yesterday we were actually Googling and saw a bunch of businesses with Heuermann. So we don't know if he has family connections to the area or exactly how many times he's visited the area. But when we were looking into the case of Lindsay Marie Harris, she disappeared in 2005, literally a month after Heuermann bought one of his timeshares in Vegas. And then when we looked further, her severed legs, I know it's gruesome, they were discovered, her body parts were not together when they were discovered, but her severed legs were discovered eerily similar to our Fire Island Jane Doe, who was just identified as Karen Brigada. And then when we were rereading the bail application, Nancy, on page 17, we saw that with a Tinder account that he set up, he used an email account, Springfield man, that was registered to the name John Springfield. And something else we found particularly eerie, when they were removing evidence from the house, from his Massapequa Park home, we had cameras out there, and one of the items that they removed was a portrait that looked almost identical to Lindsay Marie Harris. So I know I've spoken to now agencies, law enforcement agencies in 3 states. They're all over this. We don't know if this will turn out to be a coincidence or not, but certainly the family is happy that her story is back in the headlines.
Joining me right now, the founder and director of the Cold Case Research Institute and star of a hit podcast, Zone 7, Cheryl McCollum. You can find her at coldcasecrimes.org. Cheryl, jump in.
Nancy, you've got folks now that are looking seriously at these victims, and some of the similarities are the strangulation, dismemberment, their bodies were wrapped, torsos seem to be.
Hold on, wait. Let's slow it down. Strangulation, bodies wrapped.
They were dismembered.
Hold on, I want to talk about the wrap for just a moment. Remember, the Gilgo 4 are wrapped in camo burlap. And a sex worker told me, you were there, Tara, when this happened. A sex worker told me that she had had a dinner with Heuermann. She didn't go on a date with him after the dinner, but he was hypothesizing about how the Gilgo killer affected the murders and disposals. And before it came out, as I recall it, I don't know about the timing, but I do know he was talking to the sex worker and he was describing camouflage burlap bags and how the killer must have dragged them through the marshes to where they were. So when you say wrapped, it can be in plastic wrap. I believe Karen Vergata's legs, severed legs, were found in plastic at Davis Park. It can be wrapped in burlap bags. It can be wrapped in sheets of plastic. What?
Right. Cloth.
Yes. So it's the wrapping, and I'm working up to throwing all this to Dr. Bethany Marshall, the wrapping of the body. Okay. So strangulation.
Don't leave me yet.
No. I'm coming back. I'm still with you. Strangulation, wrapping the body. The body's dismembered. Go ahead. Discarded out in rural area.
Discarded in the rural area, and most importantly, they're with additional victims in close proximity. So you're looking at several things that could now be a signature. The wrapping, the dismemberment, how they're placed. Now, one thing that is critical for me is when you hear everybody talk about there's no, coverage. People didn't know about this victim. You don't even know her name. That tells me this is not a copycat. This is somebody singularly working. So I told you day one on your show,
I was actually going to say something about that. I was going to say, like, this has to be one person. I don't see this being multiple serial killers I mean, I know that, New York is huge and Gilgo Beach is right, near there, but I just don't see this being two people. I see this being one person that just evolved their skills over time and they just switched it up a little bit. Maybe he didn't have as much time with them anymore, or maybe he just didn't like, maybe he was getting away with it for so long. Maybe that's what it was. And he was dismembering them. And then maybe he was just like, okay, well, maybe I don't have to dismember them anymore because they're not even catching me. They're not even on to me. So I'm just going to throw them in some bags and throw them in the marsh. I mean, it might have been his age getting to him also. I mean, it does take a lot of strength to do something like that, to, and then to put them into separate places. Just it's very, very, very strange. But I mean, look at all these victims. And there's only one, there's three. There's three. The unidentified Asian male that are unidentified. And then there's Peaches, and she's Jane Doe number 3, and then her daughter, toddler daughter, Jane Doe. It's toddler Doe. So I'm gonna get back to Nancy here and let her talk some more.
So that I believed that there would be other victims in other states.
Oh, yes. From Vegas to South Carolina.
Oh, but I was gonna say this really quick. There are a lot of similarities they're going through, like between these, killings and the ones in Las Vegas.
Carolina and probably beyond. Tara Rosenblum joining us. Were the Vegas victims wrapped? Were they in close proximity? And where were their bodies dumped? And is there COD, strangulation, or asphyxiation?
Sure. So we know in the case of Victoria Camara, that is the autopsy report that they were able to release. There was the cause of death was strangulation, and 4 out of the 5 of these cases that we're following, Nancy, involved these women being wrapped in plastic or cloth.
Okay, Cheryl, you're right. 4 out of 5 of the Vegas victims were wrapped. What about the 5th one, Tara?
I don't have the information on that one, Nancy. We're still waiting for a public document request to get more information on that.
So the 5th one may very well have been wrapped up as well. Wow. Okay. Also with me, in addition to Dr. Bethany Marshall, is Joe Giacalone, former NYPD, author of the Cold Case Handbook, and Bernarda Villalona, high-profile lawyer who worked in the Homicide Bureau with one of the Gilgo prosecutors. You can find her at villalonalaw.com. Okay, Dr. Bethany Marshall, I'm ready. I'm braced. Hit me.
Well, Nancy, what all this tells me is that the way Heuermann killed was very ritualized, very methodical. I was thinking about people who love coffee. They will often say, I go to this certain store and then I smell the coffee and then I take them home. Then I grind the beans. Then I have my special, espresso maker. And
that is a lot of work for a cup of coffee, but go ahead.
Well, think about the work involved in finding a sex worker. And this particular a ritualized offending profile, which I think is very sexualized. He starts at the shooting range. He gets off on shooting things and practicing being a marksman. Then he goes out hunting. And all of this is a precursor. It's like foreplay to killing these poor women. Then he buys the place in Vegas, so he has proximity to sex workers.
Pause. Tara Rosenblum, didn't he buy more than one places?
Right. The records that we've been able to obtain show that he's owned 2 timeshares dating back over the past 2 decades. And one of those timeshares, we have Glendine Grant with you as a guest today. She has told me that the area where one of those timeshares is located is a known area for prostitution and where sex workers congregate.
Okay. Whoa. I'm getting so much information. I'm drinking from the fire hydrant right now. Dr. Bethany Marshall, go ahead.
Well, hey, there's sex workers all over Vegas, but he chose the area with the most disenfranchised, vulnerable young sex workers. Let's just be honest about that. If this was...
Did you need me to pause it, Summer? Yeah, he has 2 timeshares, Brooklyn. Then isn't look at Nancy. Then I got Nancy on this face, but isn't that crazy? I was thinking about that. So he has 2 timeshares in Vegas. I believe he has a home in South Carolina. He has the home in New York. How much money does this architect make? And why do you have homes everywhere? I mean, I would love to have a home everywhere, not judging, but I'm just wondering, why would you need 2 timeshares in Vegas? Why 2? Why 2? Did his wife know about both of them? Perhaps. Perhaps she only knew about one of the timeshares. I don't know. Oh, Nancy Grace said pause. I was like, what? I was like listening to her job. I'm like, what is going on? So Nancy's got my attention tonight. But if you guys don't mind just taking a second since I have y'all here, just to hit the like button, it really helps the channel grow. It's free. And thank you guys for being here this evening. I really, really appreciate it. I'll go ahead and let Nancy do the rest of the talking for us. Appreciate you guys.
Was a high-class call girl, at, Paris or one of the big hotel casinos, he wouldn't have been interested. He picked on vulnerable people. But if we go back to the ritual, I could spend hours on it, but sort of breaking it down, it begins with hunting, procurement of guns, the pouring of the concrete in his home to have this vault to keep the guns and maybe bodies. It's very sexualized. It's tinged with sexual excitement and being around women who are sex workers in Vegas. And I think that the strangulation, unfortunately, may have been while he's performing some sex act on them, putting them again in a vulnerable position. Once they're dead, he makes use of their bodies for a prolonged period of time. It may be like a hunter that goes out and hunts and gets a deer, and then he goes and gets it butchered, and then he puts it in the freezer, and then he has a steak night after night. These bodies are valuable to Heuermann long after he kills them, and they're valuable because he controls them, he dominates them. Maybe he masturbates on them or has sex with them, or whatever he does with them, it's incredibly, profoundly exciting to him. Think about all the...
I'm going to say it again. Every time I see this picture, I just can't. Imagine being on the receiving end of that selfie. Imagine being the recipient. I have one eye and I'd have none after seeing that. If that was sent to my phone. Be there to pick you up at 9. No, sir, you will not. No, sir. And he's massive. I feel, oh my Lord. I think that all of these women, I seriously think they all, as soon as they saw him, they probably were all a little like, oh shit. But he looks harmless with his little glasses and his little side swipe of his hair, his little button down shirt. He might be a big ogre type of guy, but he looks kind of harmless. But I bet you he has more power behind him than anything. I couldn't even imagine the strength of that guy. And these women are small. None of these women were by any means big. They may have been healthy, a healthy weight, but they can't defend off that.
Serial killers would keep body parts in their freezer or, in a pot.
And actually, sorry guys, I didn't mean to interrupt that again, but I just thought of that. Did he never come home with scratches on him? On his body, scratches, a bruise from being punched in the face by one of these women, just a mark of something. Nothing. These women would have fought. They would have kicked, screamed, bit, clawed, chewed, whatever they had to do. Like these weren't women that were probably going to go easily in the night. But that's what I said, Jay. That's exactly what I just said. I just said the same thing. I said, what if he brought back an STD to his wife? And then what then? How do you explain that? Well, honey, I saw it on a bad toilet seat. No. No. Would you go near him to check? I wouldn't, but if I was his wife, I would. You know what I mean? Like if you're a husband and wife, you would think he takes off his shirt when he gets home, or whatever he does. Like, gets home from work, he's undressing, you would see scratches or you'd see something. Makeup even on them, like on his clothing with, him fighting with these women. They have makeup on, he's fighting. the more and more I'm thinking about this, I'm just like, man, I know you could be naive and blind, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. That's just a little crazy.
The boiling water on the stove. They like proximity to the body parts, but when you have dozens of legs and torsos and heads and arms piling up, what are you going to do with them? You're going to resort back to what you know. And he was a hunter, and what he knew was wrapping animals in burlap and disposing of them places. So, I mean, not that he would dispose of an animal that he had hunted, but he knew of ways to dispose. And I think he dismembered for multiple reasons. You know, the control over the body by methodically dismembering it was a sexualized act. So he prolonged that. But then, you know, when, again, so many body parts are piling up, you have to do something with them. In Vegas, it has deserts. It has vast areas of land where nobody goes. So that's also a perfect place for him because he can dispose of the body parts.
Vast areas of land. Go ahead, Tara.
To piggyback that, I thought something really telling. This week I was in the jail because we just marked the 1 month incarceration milestone of Rex Heuermann in Suffolk. So I went to see what a cell looked like, what the conditions were like. And during that interview with Sheriff Toulon, I asked him point blank, do you think, because he's been involved in the task force obviously since the get-go, and I asked him point blank, do you believe that Rex Heuermann had a hand in these 5 cases we're talking about in Las Vegas? Nancy looked directly at the camera and said yes.
How can we place him there? Take a listen to our friends at News 12.
Property records obtained by the Turn to Tara team show the successful architect bought a timeshare in Las Vegas in 2004 at Wyndham Vacation Resorts that he later sold for $51,000 in 2013. And public documents also show he still owns another timeshare here at Club Soleil.
Joining us now, Joseph Jackalone, former NYPD sergeant, cold case investigator, author of the Cold Case Handbook and the Criminal Investigative Function. Joe, thank you for being with us. What's your take?
Thanks, Nancy. Yes, law enforcement is doing exactly what it should be doing. You have a suspect in a major case here in New York. You're fighting now to get the DNA to put it to CODIS because of New York's rules. They don't follow the Maryland versus King Supreme Court decision that allows police departments to put DNA in upon arrest. New York State still requires it upon conviction, and that's what the holdup is in a lot of these cases. So Las Vegas has a specific reason, so they have some sort of DNA that they want to match up, and they were able to convince the judge they've been able to do this. So that's why we're headed to that direction. And listen, this is part of Cold Case 101. You try to find cases that are connected to yours because each one of those cases could hold a piece to another one. And law enforcement now is doing exactly what it should be doing. You have an invigorated police department in Suffolk County. You have this task force with the New York State Police and the FBI. You have some good quality investigation going on in a short period of time. And everybody across the country, wherever this guy lives now, is very excited and their eyes are wide open and they're willing to do this. And that's sometimes all you need is that fresh set of eyes to break something open.
I think you're right. Guys, I want you to take a listen. While all of this is swirling, the Long Island serial killer suspect, Rex Heuermann, refuses to give a DNA sample. Gee, I wonder why, but a judge would hear none of it. Take a listen to our cut 175 from WCBS.
New tonight, now a judge has ordered Gilgo Beach serial murder suspect Rex Heuermann to submit a DNA sample. Heuermann's attorneys tried to block the move, arguing prosecutors failed to show probable cause, connecting him to a DNA sample taken from a pizza box. But according to court documents, the judge said there is enough probable cause to believe Heuermann committed the crime that he is charged with. No word on when Heuermann will submit to a cheek swab.
To Bernarda Villalona, who worked in the Homicide Bureau with one of the prosecutors on the Gilgo case. She is now a high-profile defense attorney joining us out of New York, and you can find her at villalonalaw.com. Bernarda, what about him jumping up claiming he would not give a DNA sample?
Oh, don't worry about that, Nancy, because what the prosecutors can do is get a force order where they actually force him and hold him down to try to get a DNA sample from him. So
Just want to let you know, this is just a couple of days ago, but they did get his DNA. I don't know if she'll go over that, but I just wanted to let you guys know. He was disputing it. He didn't want to give his DNA, and they got a subpoena for it. So
right there,
going to happen.
believe
So
me,
you're going to do
I
it the
am
easy
not
way or the
worried.
hard way?
I'm not worried about him claiming he won't give the DNA, because they did exactly what you just said. You can't just throw somebody down and stick a Q-tip in their mouth. You have to have a court order. Then you can throw somebody down and stick a Q-tip in their mouth. And in this case, Rex Heuermann, I think it's very telling he would not give his DNA. Why not? If he's innocent, you know what? If somebody said to me, Nancy, I think you're a killer, give me your DNA, I'd say, fine, take it. I'm not a killer. But he refused to give it, Bernarda. It tells me volumes.
Used his refusal also against him as consciousness of guilt at the time of trial. I will argue that as a prosecutor. Like, look, ladies and gentlemen, there was a court order to have him swabbed, and he refused to be swabbed. In fact, we needed to get an order to get him swabbed. And why did he want to be swabbed? Ding, 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 because he knew that his DNA would be a direct link to these homicides, ladies and gentlemen. So that
but also,
right there
Nancy, he's dominated everybody in his life, his wife, his children, his neighbors, the sex workers. He's used to dominating. He's probably staring those detectives down, thinking that he won't have to give a DNA swab. And think about what's going to happen in court. He's going to be one of those perps who just stares at the jurors, stares them down, tries to dominate them, thinks that he's going to get his way. So I think there's a psychological motive as well. He's been at the center of his own universe this long. It's just a rude awakening for him that he's going to be compelled to do something he doesn't want to do.
You know, Cheryl McCollum, we were hearing Bernardo Villalona describe it, but same thing in court. I think you were in court when one defendant, and it was a murder case, would not shut the hay up, would have constant outbursts, yelling, screaming, not letting anybody finish what they were going to say. I came in with a big roll of black duct tape, because you know what was coming next, Cheryl McCollum. He would be gagged and duct taped to that chair. Well, it didn't take all that. When he saw that duct tape, he suddenly went silent. But there have been many cases where a defendant refuses to give DNA, and you have to physically restrain them to get the DNA. And nobody wants that. It's a bad look. It's a bad look in front of a jury that you've got law enforcement holding somebody down. But the reality is, when the defendant refuses to give DNA or refuses to shut the hay up in the courtroom so you can't have a trial, what, we're just going to stop everything because they say, nah, not today? That's not happening.
Nancy, normally when this falls to me to do with a suspect, I walk in and
this reminds me of Letitia Stouch's trial. Remember when she didn't want to go to trial, and he was like, either you come up, like she would be in court, and she was either flipping the bird, doing some weird hand movements. I mean, she was a whole show herself. And the judge was like, I have the power to like strap your arms down under the table. And if that doesn't work, I have the power to leave you downstairs in a jail cell and bring you up every day and ask if you're going to act accordingly. And if you say no, then I'm going to put you back downstairs and we'll try it again the next day. But we'll give you a chance to be here. And if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. And that's how that works. I mean, they've tried an empty chair before. If somebody like scoots the country, they're out. They're like, okay, we got to try something. They just put a chair there. Try the empty chair. It's just got their name sitting in it. But that's what they'll do.
Behind me, I usually have 3 to 4 of the biggest officers I can find. And the deal is, this is going to go one or two ways. But at the end of it, I will get the sample. So again, visually, go ahead and let me just do it, and let's both get on with our day. In this situation, what you're going to have, when they talk about how he tries to use his intimidation and his stature, and he's going to stare at people, let him.
Oh, blah, blah, stare away.
Against him. It's going to work against him. Just like when we had the Wayne Williams trial. Let the jury see who this person actually is.
And then imagine that big hulking guy described as an ogre by some. What was happening behind closed doors with a tiny, very slight in stature call girl, a sex worker.
Exactly.
All alone with this guy. I bet you anything that the 5 victims out in Vegas were slight in stature. I mean, Glendale Grant is joining me. Jesse Foster's mother, just 20 years old when Jesse was trafficked into sex work in Vegas, missing since 2006, which, by the way, coincides with the time Heuermann was there. She is the founder of MATH, M-A-T-H, Mothers Against Trafficking Humans. Glendine, was Jessie a small, slight person?
Yes, she was very tiny. She was barely 115 pounds. And I know for a fact that Lindsay Marie Harris was also the same size as Jessie. Their looks are very strikingly similar.
Oh, tell me.
They look a lot alike.
You know what? When we describe one or the other of the women, because I've been in touch with her parents over the years, not lately, but at the beginning we touched base many times. You could describe one of the women, and we would have to figure out if
her eyes are light colored. That's the only thing that I've seen so far with all of the victims that we've had pictures for. They all have light colored eyes. Now, I can't remember if Karen did. I'll have to look at her again. I'm going to look her up real quick.
we were talking about Lindsay or Jesse, blonde hair, 5'7", about 5'6", 5'7", 115 pounds, very petite in size. The only difference is Lindsay's eyes were blue and Jesse's were hazel.
So very, very petite, which also fits in, Cheryl McCollum, with the same MO. All of this is...
Nancy,
go ahead, please.
I just want to point something out, too, that he's a very different serial killer. When you have somebody like Bundy that goes out and hunts for vulnerable victims, Rex picked these women.
She has blue eyes. I thought she had, they're like a greenish blue. Here, let me show it to you guys real quick. You tell me, what color are her eyes? But they appear to be like a lighter color. They're not brown. Mine are brown. That's the only thing that I can think of. Sleuthing Squad, yeah, I think they look the same too. The only thing I can see is that they are all have light colored eyes, and he has light colored eyes too. I don't know.
And beforehand,
I'm just trying to see what the difference, other than them working in, the sex industry. That's the only other thing that I'm seeing that's like a common denominator.
Him. So it's like fish in a barrel. So he has a very different MO in this situation that I think is critical for people to understand. Yes, he was a hunter. Yes, he researched and he stayed online and he, made phone calls and that sort of thing. But I think this is a long process that he took enjoyment from beginning to end. Guys,
we're also hearing from victims' families angry that funds are being raised for Heuermann's family. Take a listen to our cut 176. This is Bob Macedonio, who is Asa Ellerup's lawyer. Ellerup, of course, is Heuermann's wife.
The GoFundMe page was set up by Melissa Moore, who is the daughter of the serial killer, the Happy Face killer, who in the late 90s was convicted of killing at least 5 sex workers in the Midwest. She was 16 years old when her father was arrested. She reached out immediately to myself, and we put her in contact with Asa, and they have started the GoFundMe page. Like I said, 100% of the proceeds from that GoFundMe goes to Asa.
So what do the victims, the Long Island serial killer victims...
Before Nancy goes on her tirade, because I think she should, I just want to let you guys know that GoFundMe that they have for Asia, that's the wife of the soon-to-be ex-wife of Rex Heuermann, it has gone up to over $50,000. That was their goal, was $50,000, and now they've made their goal like $100,000. So do that with what you will. But I'm going to agree with what Nancy's about to say. And I'm just going to take her about 15 seconds. I'm just going to take it back 15 seconds so we can all hear her get upset, because I would be upset too about this. And I will say this, like, they never, not once, when this attorney came out for Asia the other day, it took me, so after the live and I was thinking about it, they never once addressed these victims. They never once said, we are so sorry for these women, or, we are so sorry this happened to these women. Even if she thinks that her husband didn't do it or whatever, you should still address the victims. Not, oh, the cops messed up my house when they were looking for things in my hoarding of a home. And I'm sorry, they moved some stuff around, but I want compensated for that. That's what she came out to say. Instead of saying anything about the victim, she came out fire blazing. She has cancer. She needs money, and she's going to divorce him. And that's what we've heard. That's all we've heard so far. And it's like, I mean, cops go in and usually tear homes apart looking for evidence, because they're not there to make friends. They're there to collect evidence. But with her home, it just looked like everything was in boxes or totes anyway, and they just moved them around. Other than the bathtub, I don't know what they were doing there. I mean, I guess the piping and stuff, but other than the bathtub, I didn't see anything that was like that big of a deal, I guess you would say. Like, to where you're going to put yourself before 10 women or more. 4 women that he's already connected to, for sure. But there's 10 on that beach. So, do that with what you will. It gets me fired up.
Myself, and we put her in contact with ASA, and they have started the GoFundMe page. Like I said, 100% of the proceeds from that GoFundMe goes to ASA.
So what do the victims, the Long Island serial killer victims, have to say about a GoFundMe being set up for the alleged killer's family? Take a listen to our cut 182, Pix 11.
The sister of Shannon Gilbert phoned in to say she was upset Heuermann's family has already received thousands.
Me and a lot of the victims' families just feel like it's disgusting, because we were never given that much support when our loved ones went missing.
John Ray said Rex Heuermann should not have a court-appointed lawyer.
Mr. Heuermann and Mrs. Heuermann have plenty of assets. They have assets in several states.
Now, we should point out that Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to 3 murders in cases where the victims were intact.
To Kristen Thorne joining us, WABC Channel 7 investigative reporter. What do you make of victims' families now speaking out about the suspect's family getting thousands of dollars when nobody cared, when their loved ones were literally slaughtered?
Nancy, I can certainly understand the.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for just a minute. That this is just insane to me. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, but no, sorry about that. No, nobody cared about these girls when they were missing. I don't know if you guys have known about this case since it happened back in 2010, but I do. I've always been looking into true crime. It's way before my channel, but I was following this case because of Shannon Gilbert. But nobody cared. And now all of a sudden they have Rex Heuermann, a suspect in custody. These women are getting their voices back, their names back. They're getting literally put back together physically. Body parts are getting shifted to other places so that they're everywhere. It's sickening. And she comes out with a statement. And if you should come out with a statement. She should have came out with a statement. If she want to have a lawyer with her, whatever, do what you will. If it was me and that was my husband, this is just me. I'm just one person. I'm just a girl with a microphone and an opinion. I would have came out and made a public statement saying, like, whether you know if it's true or not, I would probably just say, I'm not sure of the facts of this case right now, but I am terribly sorry for these victims. And I hope that they get justice. And I would just say my piece and then maybe say, can you please give me some time, just like to let my family, kind of grieve with what we're dealing with too. Cause I know that he has a stepson that has mental disabilities, and then he has a daughter. And, I'm sure that that's tearing their family apart. But you don't just go get a lawyer and then say, I need money. Excuse me? Where's all your money with Rex? He don't need to have an attorney that's paid for. Get him a public defender, and you just freeze those bank accounts, sweetie. You freeze them. Freeze them up. He's in jail. What's he going to do? I mean, I'm sorry, but I would be petty if that was my. That's not even petty. That's like, you should get all the money if your husband done killed, 4+ women in the within your marriage, and you had no clue. You should get it all and then some, but not like this. Not asking people for GoFundMes. And if she has cancer, that's terrible. But there are programs out there that can help with that as well. There's Medicaid. There are plenty of programs that, that can help you. Medicaid will help people with cancer.
Frustration. I think, look, GoFundMe is a new platform. It wasn't around when the other victims disappeared. I can understand how frustrating this must be for them. Nancy, I looked at the GoFundMe page this morning because I'm trying to think who is donating to her. So it's raised more than $51,000 as of this moment. And when you scroll through the comments, mind you, there are 1,300 people who have donated. Most of these donations are very small, $10, $20, $25, sometimes $5. People are donating multiple times. Obviously, these are people that don't know her, but people are saying, my heart hurts for this family. Asa is strong. We just wanted to say there's a lot of us who understand you're a victim too. Many, many people care about you. To me, I think this speaks more broadly, and I just find it very interesting that people who have no relation to her, know nothing about anything, are taking money, their hard-earned money, and giving it to her. I find the whole thing, I would love to talk to the psychology behind that.
Bernarda Villalona joining us, high-profile lawyer out of New York. Ms. Ellerup immediately filed for divorce from Heuermann. Does that mean Heuermann cannot access that $50,000 off the GoFundMe for his defense?
No, he's not going to be able to access that money, because either way, that money has been earmarked for the wife, for the former wife of Mr. Heuermann, so it won't be accessible to him. Also, just to note that in terms of the divorce itself is very interesting, because she's going to be able to testify at trial against him, because there will be no longer wife and husband privilege there.
Why isn't Nancy talking?
Attorney John Ray, who represents the estates of Shannon Gilbert and Jessica Taylor.
Her mic must have went off for a minute. Sorry about that, guys. It's her mic. It comes back on.
Attorney John Ray, who represents the estates of Shannon Gilbert and Jessica Taylor, then dropped a bombshell, claiming a witness told him sex workers went to the Heuermann basement.
Mrs. Ellerup was present in this tiny little home when that occurred. I have a witness, firsthand knowledge of that. The witness refuses to come forward. So the Ellerup family comes forward and says, help us, give us money. What about the victims who were chopped up?
It is.
Okay, hold on. Hold, please. As Brittany says on her channel, she says it's so cute over there. She's always like, hold, please. I'm going to go on the podcast. For some reason, Nancy's mic is out, and it's only 2 more minutes, but I wanted you guys to hear the rest of it. So I'm going to go over to her podcast to see if it plays over there really quick for us. And we were like 40 minutes in. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Let me go over to the podcast version of it, and I'm going to try to play it from over there just to see if it'll play like the rest of the way.
Thousands.
Me and a lot of the victims' families just feel like it's disgusting because.
Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry. It just took me to the beginning.
On because out. Okay.
Made phone calls
Right.
and that sort of thing.
Right.
But I think this is a
Happy face.
Or cut 182 pix 11.
The sister of Shannon Gilbert phoned in to say she was upset. Heuermann's family has already received thousands.
Me and a lot of the victims' families just feel like it's disgusting because we were never given that much support when our loved ones went missing.
John Ray said Rex Heuermann should not have a court-appointed lawyer.
Mr. Heuermann and Mrs. Heuermann have plenty of assets. They have assets in several states.
Now, we should point out that Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to 3 murders in cases where the victims were intact.
To Kristen Thorne joining us, WABC Channel 7 investigative reporter. What do you make of victims' families now speaking out about the suspect's family getting thousands of dollars when nobody cared, when their loved ones were literally slaughtered?
Nancy, I can certainly understand the frustration. I think, look, GoFundMe is a new platform. It wasn't around when the other victims disappeared. I can understand how frustrating this must be for them. But Nancy, I looked at the GoFundMe page this morning because I'm trying to think who is donating to her. So it's raised more than $51,000 as of this moment. And when you scroll through the comments, mind you, there are 1,300 people who have donated. Most of these donations are very small, $10, $20, $25, sometimes $5. People are donating multiple times. Obviously, these are people that don't know her, but people are saying, my heart hurts for this family. Asa is strong. We just wanted to say there's a lot of us who understand you're a victim too. Many, many people care about you. To me, I think this speaks more broadly, and I just find it very interesting that people who have no relation to her, know nothing about anything, are taking money, their hard-earned money, and giving it to her. I find the whole thing, I would love to talk to the psychology behind that.
Bernarda Villalona joining us, high-profile lawyer out of New York. Ms. Ellerup immediately filed for divorce from Heuermann. Does that mean Heuermann cannot access that $50,000 off the GoFundMe for his defense?
No, he's not going to be able to access that money because either way, that money has been earmarked for the wife, for the former wife of Mr. Heuermann, so it won't be accessible to him. Also, just to note that in terms of the divorce itself is very interesting because she's going to be able to testify at trial against him because there will be no longer wife and husband privilege there.
Now, another bombshell has developed as it relates to Heuermann's wife, now ex-wife. Take a listen to our cut 181, pix 11.
Attorney John Ray, who represents the estates of Shannon Gilbert and Jessica Taylor, then dropped a bombshell, claiming a witness told him sex workers went to the Heuermann basement.
Mrs. Ellerup was present in this tiny little home when that occurred. I have a witness, firsthand knowledge of that. The witness refuses to come forward. So the Ellerup family comes forward and says, help us, give us money. What about the victims who were chopped up?
Okay, Cheryl McCollum, that's a whole another can of worms. We've been told that the wife and children were not there. Now there's an eyewitness stating they were on at least one occasion.
Well, again, Nancy, the only thing that really jumped out at me early on is how fast she processed this information and moved to divorce. You have a lot of people that when they're given any type of traumatic information, first they deny it. Then they get where they just can't really even process the reality of it before they get angry enough to move to divorce. She did this in days. So she had to have some information that this was believable, and she accepted it within days. That doesn't mean she has any culpability. That doesn't mean she was an accessory, but she absolutely believed the pornography searches, that he was able to kill somebody, that he was able to dispose of that person by her actions.
Nancy, he may have already convinced his wife that it was okay to bring sex workers into the house, that there was something inferior about her. Maybe he told her, you're short, you're fat, you're dumpy, I'm not attracted to you, I'm attracted to these other women. And she went along with it, as abused women always do. So Cheryl McCollum is right. By the time all this news comes out, everything that has been sort of at the tip of her consciousness all of a sudden gets pulled together, amalgamated in such a way that she says, oh my God, maybe he is a serial killer. But you know, that GoFundMe page, it also tells me that the children of Rex Heuermann still feel their dad might be innocent. They are not yet ready to accept this, and they feel that he's being victimized rather than the fact that he has victimized other people. So he may have had a very dominating relationship with the wife, brought sex workers in right under her nose, taunted her about it, but maybe he adored and idealized the children. So they have a different relationship.
If you have or think you have information regarding either Long Island, Vegas, South Carolina, anything connected to the Long Island serial case and or Rex Heuermann, please dial toll-free 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-225-5324. Goodbye, friend.
Stop playing Nancy. Sheesh, Nancy. Oh, actually, I needed to pull her back up for a minute. I was going to actually show you just a small, short little video. It's like 2 minutes long. It's about, it said, saw the title of it earlier, and it was like, and I got to watch like 2 seconds of it, and then I forgot to go back to it. But it said Rex Heuermann's life inside a jail. Well, I watched like a minute of it, and it was the warden, or I think it's warden, yeah. He was on there, and he was just explaining what Rex could do outside, like when he has rec, what happens on the inside, all that kind of stuff. So I'll play that for you here just a second. Thank you guys also for being here, all of you guys. I appreciate it so much. And we got a lot of new people in the chat tonight, and I love that. So don't forget, if you guys don't mind, just take a second to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you guys like the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We talk true crime daily. We're normally here about 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but on Sundays we switch it up. We come in a little bit earlier. So I wanted to okay. I think I'm going to bring a new case tomorrow. There is an executive that was, I believe, shot, and his wife has a lot to do with it. And I don't really know a whole lot about the case, so I'm going to look into it more tomorrow. But I think it'll be a good one to bring to the channel. So we will be doing that, and I'm going to try to get over to show you guys this video. There we go. Oh, I spelled his name wrong. There we go. So, where was it at? Maybe I could put in. Here we go. Oops. And it's only 2 minutes and 11 seconds long. It's just a short little video that'll kind of go over what he's going through in jail right now. I couldn't imagine being in a New York prison. Couldn't. Also, I have a really good live planned for you guys for Idaho, like an Idaho 4 live. And we'll probably do that sometime, this week. So it's a good one I have planned for you guys. So I'm going to play this for you really quick, and then we'll wrap up.
We have something else you need to know tonight. We're getting a firsthand account of the alleged Long Island serial killer's life behind bars. Rex Heuermann being held without bond after being charged with 3 of the Gilgo Beach murders. He remains the prime suspect in a 4th woman's death. And today, the Suffolk County Sheriff told CNN about how Heuermann spends his days and who's come to visit the alleged killer.
Mr. Heuermann did have one visitor, obviously someone that's known to him because he's denied 2 or 3 visits already. We don't know the extent of the conversation. I do know that it lasted less than the hour time that we allot for visits whenever anyone's visiting someone in our custody. I do not know how the conversation went. I do not know how this individual was contacted to even think to request the visits. You know, in the first couple of days or even that first week or two that he was in our custody, he was basically laying on his bed. He was sleeping a lot. You know, now he's participating in recreation, which means he walks around the yard. He's by himself. He has the option to play basketball, at least shoot a basketball hoop. He can do pull-ups, dips, sit-ups, push-ups, which he doesn't do. He just walks around the yard. Participates in religious services. He goes to a library where he's able to take out books, which he's been reading. It seems like he's reading a lot now. If there's any missing sex workers or any bodies that have been recovered over the last several years that can now be attributed to Mr. Heuermann, or even what's going on in Las Vegas. And so, you know, once that DNA has been analyzed and it's distributed to those jurisdictions and possibly other jurisdictions across the Eastern Seaboard where Mr. Heuermann may or may not have been, we can now see whether he is a direct participant in any crimes in those jurisdictions.
We're also learning that Heuermann is no longer on suicide watch. He's expected back in court on September 27th for a conference hearing. And of course, Court TV will be there for it all.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm G.
We didn't need to see that part. Okay, that's all. That's all. I just want to show you that part. I wasn't sure exactly what I caught like half of it, and I didn't know if he was going to say anything else. I guess he was just saying about his rec time. I thought he was going to give us some more details, like on what he was, you know, what food he was eating. I don't know. I want to know. He's probably eating it all. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. Diamond, yeah. She's I'm glad prisoners find God in prison. They really do. It's because that's all they got left, you know? And you want to get out of yourself for a little bit. But it's really just this whole case is very, very sad. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going to explode. I feel like there's going to be, I feel like multiple women, multiple states. I mean, 2 houses in Vegas. Why do you have 2 timeshares? Who the hell has 1 timeshare, let alone 2? I just don't get that. And if you guys are new to the channel and you haven't saw Miss Nancy Grace yet, she is back in the back there. We got her some new greenery rocking for tonight, but I don't like the way those ones look. So I'm going to take that greenery out, but there's, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, Jax, man. There's a lot of new developments in this case. Like, I'm extremely happy that Nancy Grace is covering it, because when she covers something, she covers it. And you know what else she's covering? I'm not political, but if you guys are political and you guys like to see political things, she's actually covering like Donald Trump's indictment and stuff. And I'm not a political person per se, but I just was like, oh, wow, I have never seen Nancy do that. Like, I was just like, oh, she has like a part 1 through 3 too. She ain't messing around. But I do want to bring you guys maybe a new case tomorrow, and then we'll have some more stuff this week. Just want to see if there's anything else to show you. I think that was all of it. 1 timeshare for him, 1 for the fam. Yep. I love Nancy Grace. She tells it like it is. Yeah, I know. I do too. I was in the car, I think it was yesterday, and I was telling Vincent about the lady that we just saw on Court TV. I forget her name, but she is the sweetest, most gentlest lady. And I was like, she's the polar opposite of Nancy Grace. I was like, Nancy says, we're not here. This is not high tea in Windsor Castle. We're not here having high tea at Windsor Castle. I love her. And she calls them jurors. She says it with such conviction. Can you imagine her being a prosecutor and saying that? The jurors. Having a cardboard piece of her here, that scares the hell out of me, let alone a real one. Oh, I didn't see that one, Robert. No. Might have a link to the Mesa Bureau. Wow. That's a lot of there's going to be people everywhere, I feel like. Just I'm wondering if the timeshares, if the wife knew about both houses. Because who has time for 2 timeshares in Vegas? I don't get that. Like, is Vegas big? Richie, are you in here still? Is Vegas big? Like big enough to have like 2 houses? Like, I mean, are you like New York? You live in New York City. Have 2 houses there. 1 in the city, 1 in the suburbs, like when you live in. It's just crazy. Oh, good. Well, Danny, you're welcome over here anytime. You're welcome over here. Sometimes that happens, you know. But yeah. I'll have to look. I didn't know his daughter was like a 3D animator or something. You guys were saying. I'll have to look up. I'll have to look into that. I really appreciate that. Well, I appreciate you guys all being here today. If you guys didn't catch the members only live, it's for tier 1, tier 2. It's available. It should be available. Let me double check. No, it should be up there. I always save it, and I save the live chats for you guys every time. So it was nice to see everybody tonight. It was a good group in here, and I love that. You guys give me my energy. You guys really do. Who was a legendary said, make sure that Tanya's chats are always full because that makes Tanya happy. And I'm like, the more people, the merrier to me. I get like more nervous when I have less people in my chat than when I have a lot of people in my chat. And I think it's because most of the time, if there's a lot of people in the chat, you guys are all talking to each other. You know what I mean? Like I'm here as just like, I'm here just to keep you company, like, you know, but you guys like to talk to each other for the most part. The chats are always really good here. So if you guys, you know, are new to YouTube and you need like a cute little community to, you know, join and you want to join ours, I'll put the link in the chat and you can become a member, or you could just subscribe to the channel. We love to have you. We are just hitting 10,700 subscribers. So wow, guys, that's a lot. And we haven't even been here a year. That's awesome. Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that. But I will see you guys all later. And I forgot to put Steve's song on the music today. I meant to do that when I came in here to sit down. And then Vincent started doing emojis. I'm gonna blame him. So look at my notes are so. These are just my notes from today. These are so bad. I'm the worst. Like I need to sit down and do all my notes. But yeah, just, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But I'm going to jump off of here for the evening. I will be back tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. My watch is turned off again. So if you want to go back and watch the replay of this, that would be great. And we did do, if you missed any of the Brian Kohlberger trial, mini trial, that's what I'm going to call it, that happened on Friday, because that's what it was. It was expert witnesses. We did an 8-hour live. So it's all there, and we finished it up today. So, or was that today? No, that was yesterday, last night. We finished it up last night on our live. We did an extra 3 hours last night. So, hey, Exquisite. Hey, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. I'm getting off here now, but welcome in. Make sure you go back and hit the replay, #replay in the comments. It does help the channel. Helps it. And I love you guys so much. And I will see you guys here tomorrow at 8:15. Bye, guys.